The United Nations reports that annually 5% of global gross domestic product is siphoned off by corrupt means. What's more, funds lost to corruption are 10 times the amount of official development assistance. So it goes without saying, corruption is one of the major impediments to a country's social and economic growth. Here in Jamaica, the Integrity Commission leads the island's anti-corruption charge. And that push has been bolstered by the December 2 appointment of Keisha Prince as Director of Corruption Prosecution at the Commission. You too can protect Jamaica's prosperity and development by reporting corruption to 876-906-8314 or 876-968-6227.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me black, cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence a drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have you under lock. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. They say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. They say you get wet, look out for. Look out for, look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, December 9. The Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, will be on-lending $5 billion to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, over the next 12 months. The undertaking will be facilitated under government's revamped Credit Enhancement Facility, CEF. The CEF is financed by the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, and allows the DBJ to provide partial guarantees to affiliated approved financial institutions. This is to cover up to 90% of individual MSME loans not exceeding $49 million for up to 10 years. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the CEF was recently enhanced and repackaged with technical support from the IDB to provide greater support for MSMEs.
With their advice, we have been able to revamp that program entirely and use a portfolio approach for the insurance purposes, where the first loss up to a level that is way beyond the historical bad debt ratios of commercial institutions, the DBJ guarantees. And with that portfolio approach, we have been able to increase the potential size of the facility by 9 times.
The finance minister was speaking recently at the launch of the IDB's 50th anniversary. He pointed out that since the establishment of the Credit Enhancement Facility 10 years ago, a total of $5 billion had been on-lent to MSMEs through financial institutions. Both houses of Parliament have now approved legislation to merge the functions of the Heart Trust NTA with the National Youth Service, the Apprenticeship Board, and the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning. The House of Representatives approved the Human Employment and Resources Training Amendment and Change of Name Act 2019 on November 19, and the Senate gave its assent last Friday with 17 amendments. The bill will repeal the Apprenticeship Act and the National Youth Service Act. The merger will create an institution that will refocus all the government's training resources into one agency. Acting Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Pernell Charles Jr., says the bill is a critical element of human capital development.
So the objective for the government, Mr. President, is for us to reach more unattached youth, steer and mentor them with greater opportunities to work, learn, earn, and for them to give back through service.
As it steps up its own vector control efforts, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is suggesting that householders use a domestic insecticide such as Bagan and Pyro to help rid their homes of the mosquitoes that cause dengue fever. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made that suggestion in a national broadcast Sunday night in which he gave an update on government's dengue intervention efforts. He says using the domestic insecticides will target mosquitoes in the areas of the home that are not usually reached by fogging, such as in the closets and under beds. He, however, warns that persons who have respiratory illnesses or who are at risk for respiratory illnesses, such as asthma, should not participate in this exercise.
To decrease the likelihood of health effects of the spraying, all persons must leave the space for at least 20 minutes after spraying and take other precautions as necessary.
In the meantime, Dr. Tufton says additional vehicles and fogging machines have been bought as it expands the fogging program in high-risk and other communities. Other interventions include the employment of 1,000 temporary vector control workers to help eliminate breeding sites in communities and rollout of a public education campaign. The ministry is also partnering with the National Solid Waste Management Authority to clean up areas and working with the municipal corporations and MPs for vector control activities in communities.
The ministry has also increased opening hours in some health centers up to 8 p.m. and on Saturdays in other health centers. Provided free treatment for children under 12 years old at the University Hospital of the West Indies, and activated emergency operations centers at the ministry and in all parishes.
Dr. Tufton stresses that with the end of the year approaching, the health sector faces its busiest time, with increase in vector-borne disease as well as gastroenteritis, influenza, and influenza-like illnesses and trauma. He's appealing to Jamaicans to partner with the government by taking action to destroy mosquito breeding sites in their surroundings and supporting the ministry's routine vector control activities by allowing the workers to safely carry out their duties. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Get the facts on the commission which supports Jamaica's anti-corruption fight.
Jamaica has been on a mission to eliminate corruption in all sectors of society. The main agency tasked with ensuring that the structures are in place to boost the island's fight is the Integrity Commission. A commission of Parliament, the body is a consolidation of the Corruption Prevention Commission, the Office of the Contractor General, and the Integrity Commission. It's mandated to investigate alleged or suspected acts of corruption regarding parliamentarians, public officers, and public bodies, and instances of non-compliance with provisions of the Integrity Commission Act 2017. The Commission is also tasked with prosecuting acts of corruption and offences committed under the Act, as well as receiving statutory declarations submitted by parliamentarians and public officials related to their assets, liabilities, and income. Operations at the Commission took effect in February 2018. Since its inception, the entity has submitted 6 investigation reports to Parliament, monitored over 500 government projects, completed 8 inquiry management reports, and conducted over 100 site visits and meetings. The Integrity Commission has 3 divisions: investigation, corruption prevention, and administration. The Investigation Division examines allegations of corruption, monitors the award of government contracts, and looks into all matters related to licenses. The Corruption Prevention Division acts on the findings of the investigation branch by way of prosecution, as well as the seizure, forfeiture, or recovery of property related to acts of corruption. And the day-to-day running of the Commission is executed by the Administration Division, which also collects and routes corruption complaints and inquiries to the relevant divisions. To resolve complaints and investigations predating its establishment, the Commission formed 5 subcommittees: Information and Complaints, Investigations, Corruption Prosecution, Audit and Finance, as well as Internal Affairs. The Commission is operated by a team of directors. That includes Interim Executive Director Colonel Daniel Price, Acting Director of Information and Complaints Joy Powell, Acting Director of Investigation David Gray, and Director of Corruption Prosecution Keisha Prince. That body is guided by a team of commissioners. The team is chaired by retired Justice Seymour Panton and has as commissioners Pamela Monroe Ellis, Eric Crawford, Dr. Derek McCoy, and retired Justice Lloyd Hibbert. You may get in touch with the Integrity Commission at 16 Oxford Road or 45 to 47 Barbados Avenue, both in Kingston. Numbers to call are 876-929-6460, 876-926-2288, or 876-906-8314.
Did you know that you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate online or by visiting any of the Registrar General's Department offices listed on their website? For ease of processing, there are several things you need to know about the person or child whose birth certificate you are applying for. Here's a checklist. Ensure you know the correct name and spelling of the person, as well as their mother and father. You will need their date and place of birth, which is usually the name of the hospital or location they were born. Parish of birth is also important. Find out also the birth entry number along with the date and place of registration for the adult or child. Remember, for additional information on how you can apply for a copy of your birth certificate or someone else's, contact the Registrar General's Department today.
The fight against corruption is serious business and one which the Jamaica Customs Agency is committed to continue. Here are some of the measures being taken in the agency's anti-corruption campaign.
The fight against corruption remains an important task and one we intend to win.
Customs officials are particularly susceptible to corruption because of the scope, nature, and complexity of their work. The Jamaica Customs Agency JCA is therefore continuously seeking ways to strengthen its anti-corruption efforts. The engagement of all stakeholders critical to the agency's fight against corrupt practices is one strategy used in these efforts. One such engagement was a panel discussion held in October 2018 under the theme, "Corruption Robs Us All. Let's Break the Chain."
What we need to do is to ensure that we create an environment that is resistant to corruption. And critical to those are the processes that we have. If you don't have proper processes and systems, you will expose your organization to all type of corruption. And those processes and systems must be continuously reviewed. And when there are system breaches, then the requisite punishment must be meted out or sanctioned.
An important factor in tackling the issue of corruption is taking the necessary steps to convict persons who have been so charged.
We in this room need to ensure we do the requisite proper training of the persons, proper investigation, proper collection of exhibits, putting together a proper file, and placing it before the court system. The mere fact that an allegation is made, it doesn't mean that the person is guilty. There must be proof.
The occasion was also used to highlight the measures being employed at the JCA to combat corruption.
We have established a 360-degree or a holistic approach within our anti-corruption strategy, anchored on the foundation of integrity development and maintenance.
The JCA continues to weave the thread of integrity into its operations, guided by the best practices outlined by the World Customs Organization, WCO. These are geared towards improving efficiency, which in turn reduces or eliminates opportunities for corruption.
A code of conduct is in place. Our human resource management in terms of refining recruitment and rotation policy. And within any system, who you bring in your organization by way of recruitment are the same persons who can affect you as it relates to corruption. And so you have to ensure that those things are dealt with. And the moral and organizational culture is important as well. But one of the main important element is relationship with our private sector and stakeholder. And so several means of engagement continues.
There are certain strategic plans that we have, such as strengthening internal controls through re-evaluation of processes and procedures. We have identification of vulnerabilities through environmental assessment, develop a robust record management system, and that is across the agency. Revise and implement security vetting policies. So these policies are looked at, review constantly. Then continuous anti-corruption engagement with staff and provision of relevant tools. So we also we educate our staff as it relates to anti-corruption, how getting involved in corruption, how it affects them, how it affects the country. And we are not just here to get them, but also for them to be partner with us.
Adding to the discussions was the representative from the Financial Investigations Division of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, a unit tasked with investigating allegations of financial crimes and money laundering.
One of the fundamental aspirations of the division, together with our partners at CTOC, is to take the money out of crime. We follow very closely and collaborate with MOCA, JCF, RPD, Customs on these cases, with the intention and particular focus on taking the profit out of crime.
Another partner with multifaceted roles is the Revenue Protection Division, RPD. The division is key in assisting the JCA to maintain its integrity through the vetting of prospective employees.
We also interact with customs at other levels. For example, we spoke about the anti-corruption committee. We're a part of that. We sit on the anti-corruption committee. We sit on the custom brokers licensing advisory board to ensure that those coming into the profession are of a certain standard. We look at the facilities that customs operates in to ensure that those facilities and the processes and procedures employed there are efficient.
Members of the audience, including customs brokers and freight handlers, also contributed to the discussions.
There's what we call a code of silence in Jamaica. Because I have had situations where if you complain, if you call, if you write, the minute you do that, you become a target of. I'm not speaking specifically of customs, I'm speaking generally.
We accept that there's corruption, and we accept that we live in a violent society, and it's for that reason that the JCF as well as the RPD, we have associations with Crime Stop Jamaica, where persons can call anonymously, leave the information, and we will investigate.
I am not sure at the end of this, what is it we intend to do? It is good to have us here to give suggestions, to say what is happening in our departments, what we would have done, but at the end of all of this, what is it we intend to do?
This for us is another form of engagement, but an engagement of frank discussion. In going forward, we need to ensure, especially from customs, greater efficiencies, transparency, and gender integrity, and have that collaborative work with all our law enforcement, all our border regulatory agencies to ensure that we're operating within a space that will give them the service that they deserve.
The Jamaica Customs Agency and its partners continue to demonstrate their commitment to fight corruption by engaging in open discussions aimed at finding effective methods and strengthening current mechanisms to tackle this challenge.
Go on, I work for the fitness, man. No, the fitness. I'm a care fitness, man. I'm paying a tax officer.
Oh. Yeah. But you don't have to run, man. Oh, respect. No, man. You mean you don't have to go in there, man. You can pay vehicle fitness online. Yeah? Yeah, man. THG, I make it easy for you now. You know, so now the excuse. Yeah? Yeah, man. Respect, man. Hey, you still have to work on your fitness, though, you know.
I'm going to deal with it online.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Government is working to ensure that citizens are not only gainfully employed, but also have access to support services. See how in this next feature.
Since 2001, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's Labour Market Information System, LMIS, has provided a cost-effective way for employers to source and find suitable employees, as well as for job seekers to find employment. The LMIS has three components: the Labour Market Intelligence, LMI, the Skills Bank, and the Electronic Labour Exchange, ELE. These three components are interwoven to equip job seekers and employers to meet the demand of the labour market. The Labour Market Intelligence Department, LMI, collects labour market information and uses this information to determine trends and factors which influence the market. The department spearheaded the National Labour Market Survey 2017, which was tabled in Parliament by Honourable Minister Shahini Robinson. The survey identified 6 key findings.
1. Less than 1% of the workers in the participating firms were foreigners. 2. 80% of firms found it difficult to fill vacancies in their organizations. 3. Most firms were optimistic about their business prospects. 4. The hotel and restaurant services had the greatest opportunity for growth in the labor market. 5. Demand will be greatest for skilled workers in production and services with 72%. And 6. 10% of the firms employed persons with disabilities.
The survey is beneficial to policymakers, curriculum developers, students, job seekers, and employers who can use the information to assess imbalances in the labour market. Labour market intelligence is also utilised to better position the LMIS to meet the needs of clients. The Electronic Labour Exchange, ELE, is the core component of the LMIS. It's a critical tool for linking job seekers with employers where the in-office services are enhanced by an online portal.
Persons can go and register on or offline. They can create their resume and post their qualifications. And we match those skill sets with jobs that are already posted by employers.
What we do is to do preparatory work in terms of getting individuals ready for the world of work. And these are done through our employability skills sessions. And these are done effectively to allow for the individual person to be ready to go into an organization and display the relevant soft skills that we want in order to have productivity.
It showed me that it doesn't matter what happened in the office or what is going to happen where you go. There's always help and strength there. You should just take the good from it and leave the bad where it is. Without the program, I would have never gotten that training.
Since its launch, the LMIS website has attracted more than 14,000 job seekers and over 1,000 employers, earning their trust and becoming a national employment portal.
We have been partnering with the Ministry of Labour to have interns coming in and joining our team for 3-month periods. What they have been able to do is to come in and to create a steady pipeline for us of talent that we have been able to infuse into the workspace and to be able to fill our entry-level roles. The experience has been a good one for us. We've been able to find talent that we can transition into the organization, and most of them are still with us and doing very well.
I am very grateful for the program. When I left high school, I was in and out of jobs, and thanks to the ELE program, I'm here at the COK Sodality. I've been to 3 departments thus far, and I must say it has been a very good experience.
The LMIS is committed to serving Jamaica's labour force and has been building sustainable partnerships to enrich and increase access to the service.
The latest of which has been through the New Employment Opportunities Project, which the executing body is youth. And what that does is to allow for our individuals who are conducting our employability skills sessions to be trained in global standards as to how to do it. It also facilitates a development of a mobile app that would allow for individuals to be able to access our web portal.
In seeking to cement the public-private partnership, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the Jamaica Library Service, with the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, and we intend to do that island-wide.
Through this MOU, job seekers are able to use both facilities to access the services of the ELE portal, effectively allowing the LMIS increased penetration across the island. To improve human capital and labor market outcomes for the poor, the ministry has partnered with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, to develop and implement an on-the-job pilot for 1,500 PATH program beneficiaries.
Through the electronic labor exchange, we are targeting persons from these households between the ages of 17 to 25 for job placement. Now, before we place them in jobs, we want them to be able to function effectively in the labor market. We want them to be able to retain those jobs. And it is through retaining those jobs that we will truly break the intergenerational cycle of poverty.
The LMIS is grooming and empowering Jamaicans to achieve their fullest potential by utilizing labor market information, promoting the services of the ELE, and strengthening labor market opportunities through partnerships. The Labor Market Information System, providing easier access to employment opportunities.
And that's the time we have for you on this station. We return tomorrow with another program packaged with you in mind. We are available at your leisure online. There's social media, our website, and our mobile app. You may also send your comments, queries, and suggestions to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.